during class you take the mridanga, don't just use it as like a rest or a prop. Take it and just put it on the... Yeah. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya. Are we recording?
Yeah.
Namashreshtam manumapi sachi putramatra swarupam rupam tasyakrajam uruparim maturim gostavadim radhakundam girivaram maho radikamadavasam prapto yasya pratita kripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Here's a pretty one, isn't it? Pretty in pink today. Hari Bol. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8, entitled Ramachandra Puri Criticizes the Lord. Give me a little hula skirt too. The following summary of the 8th chapter is given by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his Amrita Pravahavasya. So his Amrita Pravahavasya is his commentary. This chapter describes the history of the Lord's dealings with Ramachandra Puri. Although Ramachandra Puri was one of the disciples of Madhavendra Puri, he was influenced by the dry Mayavadis and therefore he criticized Madhavendra Puri. Therefore, Madhavendra Puri accused him of being an offender and rejected him. Because Ramachandra Puri had been rejected by his spiritual master, he became concerned only with finding faults in others and advising them according to the dry Mayavad philosophy. For this reason, he was not very respectful to the Vaishnavas, and later he became so fallen that he began criticizing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for his eating. Hearing his criticisms, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reduced his eating, but after Ramachandra Puri left Jagannath Puri, the Lord resumed his usual behavior. Tam Vande Krishna Chaitanyam Ramachandra Puri Bayat Lokika Harataha Svamyo Bhikshanam Samakochayat. Let me offer my respectful obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who reduced his eating due to fear of the criticism of Ramachandra Puri. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Karuna Sindhu Avatar Brahma Shivadika Bhajay Charana Yanhar. All glorious to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the incarnation of the ocean of mercy. His lotus feet are worshipped by demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. Jai Jai Avaduta Chandra Nityananda Jagat Pandila Yain Hadiya Prema Panda. All glories to Nityananda Prabhu, the greatest of mendicants, who bound the entire world with a knot of ecstatic love for God. Jai Jai Advaita Ishvara Avatara Krishna Avatari Kaila Jagat Nistara. All glories to Advaita Prabhu, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He induced Krishna to descend and thus delivered the entire world. Jai Jai Srivasadi Yata Bhaktagam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Yanra Pranadan. All glories to all the devotees headed by Srivas Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is their life and soul. Etamatra Gora Chandra Nija Bhakta Sange Nilachali Krita Kare Krishna Prem Tarange. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri performed his various pastimes with his own devotees in the waves of love of Krishna Prem, the waves of love of Krishna. Hena Kale Ramachandra Puri Goshani Aila Paramananda Purire Ada Prabhure Milila. Then a sannyasi named Ramachandra Puri Goshani came to see Paramananda Puri and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ramachandra Puri is disciple of Madhavendra Puri, who is seen as the sprout of Madhura Prem in the modern world. If we look at the Bhagavat Parampara given by Saraswati Thakur, we will see that there's two sections. One is the Vaidhi Parampara from Krishna to Madhavendra Puri, and after Madhavendra Puri, it's known as the Raga Parampara. So, the manifestation of Raga Bhakti in the world comes with the advent of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri is the Param Gurudev of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mahaprabhu's Leela. Means he's his grandfather Guru. The Guru of his Guru. Madhavendra Puri had many, many disciples, including Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and of course Ishvara Puri, who is the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Diksha Guru. Plus many, many others. There is a Dash Mula, means 10 roots of the Chaitanya tree. Earlier in the Adi-lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu and his associates are described as delineated as like a tree, as you would a family tree. Except that there's metaphors attached. So, the tree is one of Krishna Prem. There's a roots, there's a trunk, there's a gardener, and there's the fruits of the tree. The fruits are Krishna Prem, or the Bhakti process, the fruits of Krishna Prem. So the 10 roots of this tree are 10 sannyasis. Das mula, 10 roots, 10 sannyasis. Most of these, I believe, are disciples of Madhavendra Puri. Perhaps not all of them. There's a few. I'm not sure if sannyasis like Brahmananda Bharati is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. But nonetheless, many of the what we'd call stalwarts in Mahaprabhu's Sangha, the older devotees, stalwart, like a solid, long-term practitioner. They're all disciples of Madhavendra Puri. And including this one errant disciple named Ramachandra Puri. He is also a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. And he's the black sheep amongst them. Not a good black sheep, a bad black sheep. He developed a bad criticizing habit. And as is the nature with Vaishnava aparad, it can start off at a low level of aparad and progress. We should say actually digress to more and more increasingly severe levels of aparad, to the point where one inevitably commits aparad to their own guru. So this trajectory, this unpleasant trajectory, was witnessed with Ramachandra Puri. But we still witness it today. So it's not just a historical episode that has no relevance to today. We witness it in today's world. It is still very much potential that is applicable to today's context. that we're cautioned about. Aparad is a slippery slope, right? You stand on the slope and then you slip right down to the bottom. So aparad has a slippery slope effect where one little aparad sets the stage for a further aparad, which then leads on chain reaction type scenario, which leads to another aparad, until one's spiritual life is completely obliterated.
In this case, one cannot go back and correct. There's no possibility of correction.
There is, but still, it's a position which requires extensive remediation, and it's best avoided. There is. Gurudev talks about aparad. Aparad comes in various gradations. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it says that if you commit first, you could say, how do they classify things? Grade A or Class A is the first category, or the most severe category. Class A, aparad, let's say just the severest form of aparad, which means that the aparad is committed to a Shuddha Vaishnava. So the degree of the severity of the aparad is measured by who was offended, who was the target of your offence. If, depending on their adhikar, so is the result. The result is proportional to the object of your aparad. So if it's a Shuddha Vaishnav, then the aparad will have a severe effect. And what will that effect be? It's called the mad elephant offence, because it's akin to having a garden and letting a mad elephant come into your garden. Your garden is completely ruined, smashed to bits. And why a garden? Because the heart is metaphorically described in Bhakti as a garden, because the Bhakti lata means a climbing plant, a creeper. So the Bhakti is described metaphorically as a climbing plant, a creeper, and they grow in a garden. So the processes of devotion, Shravan, Kirtan, etc., they are like the water and the fertilizer for your garden, for your Bhakti lata. Not chemical fertilizer, I hope, but compost. Anyway, that was supposed to be a joke. Anyway, so Shravan, Kirtan are the fertilizer and the water. And you can have a healthy garden unless aparad is committed. There are some other factors to be considered, such as weeding of the garden. But the only scenario in which your bhakti lata can be severely damaged or destroyed is Vaishnava aparad. So if it is the most severe form of Vaishnava aparad, then it's the mad elephant. It's akin to a mad elephant coming in and uprooting the bhakti lata, the creeper of devotion. And when it's uprooted, then it's completely gone. Not a trace left. It dies completely. A person loses everything. However, Rupa Goswami says that if the aparad is not of that most severe level, if it's to a Vaishnava who's not on the topmost platform, then one's spiritual life is just reduced, or we could say one is demoted spiritually. It goes from one level to the level beneath. So one is set back, one suffers a setback. So we can see that not all Vaishnava aparad is equal. Some has a devastating, obliterating effect, and some other just has some other less egregious varieties of aparad just have a compromising effect on your bhakti, a damaging effect. So there's different shades of aparad. But in this regard, Gurudev says that if you have a powerful guru, and even still somehow you manage to commit aparad, still under his protection, over time, he will redeem you and rescue you. Akin to a cloud passing in front of the sun. So the cloud of aparad will pass in front of the sun and obscure the Krishna sun for some time. But eventually, the sunshine of Krishna and Guru's grace will shine again by the intervention of your Guru once the effect of the aparad has passed. Gurudev has said this, I've read it myself. Which is good, because it gives hope. Some people can become overly concerned with aparad, and it can become what is almost a mental health disorder. They become so attached to bhakti, right? Investing so much in this idea of progressing spiritually that the prospect of losing it all terrifies them, and kind of rightfully so, but has to be kept in balance. Because another consideration is that Vaishnava aparad is difficult to perform. It's difficult to commit. Because by nature Vaishnavas are not offended. So it is more that the Vaishnava may not be offended, but Krishna may not be happy with the way that Vaishnava is treated. And so Krishna withdraws. It's Krishna withdrawing himself. So anyway, aparad is the topic of this chapter. However, and we can talk more about it as the chapter goes on, because there's more to be said about it, including the brilliance of Guru Maharaj in illuminating the importance of a place called Aparad Banjanerapat, the place where aparads are broken. Banjan means to break. Pata is a place. Aparad is a transgression. So the place where transgressions themselves are broken, or we could say rectified, the place of rectification for the sinners. Aparad Banjanerapat, where the mud is. It's where the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat mud is in Navadvip. Srila Sridhar Maharaj formed his mud not by accident, not arbitrarily in a particular place, not just because someone happened to have some free space there. He specifically, very intentionally, very purposefully chose this place, Aparad Banjanerapat.
It's a physical place,
It is the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, Navadvip, is in this place called Aparad Banjanerapat.
Okay.
It is a place in Mahaprabhu's Leela where he forgives. It's his pastime, his Leela of absolute amnesty for all of those who have misbehaved in the past. That is the spiritual energy of that location, where offences are forgiven. That's why it's called Aparad Banjanerapat. So Guru Maharaj chose the place through his, what I like to call, extremely merciful prescience. Can we actually keep the door open? Is it really that bad?
You don't mind the
No.
It was for you, probably.
Okay, I don't mind. I don't mind. I much prefer it open. It's not too loud for me. As a prescience is like a foresight to see what can happen in the future. That's one reason. We could say, subjectively, Guru Maharaj is operating from a place of great humility. But Guru Maharaj doesn't need any forgiveness of offense. It's not what he needs. Subsequent generations may need it. So we can see that if there is a process that we want to follow, and then there's a weak point, not a weak point in the process, but something that can cause a failure or a breakdown. And in the bhakti, if someone commits Vaishnava aparad, then it causes a breakdown. It causes their progress to fail. It causes a regression or a destruction. So, an intelligent strategist who has the concerns of subsequent generations in mind, they will look at the process and go, well, if we really want to help our future generations to advance spiritually, then we need to protect them from that thing that can cause damage to their bhakti, to their spiritual life. We need to cover or remove or deal with the Achilles heel, so to speak, if we want to term it that way. Because bhakti is apratihata, means it cannot be stopped. There is nothing that can check it. Its power is such that nothing in the Mayic domain can impact on bhakti. The Gita says that the soul, the Atma, cannot be affected by any material element. And it gives examples like withered by the wind, right? Dried out, can't be dried up by the wind, or burnt by fire, or wet by water, etc. In other words, it's saying that the Atma itself cannot be impacted by any environmental factor. Nothing of this world. So what to speak of bhakti, which not just comes from a place of tatashta, which is the origin of the Atma, but it comes from the Swarup Shakti, comes from Krishna's own place. So it's even higher than the Atma. So if the Atma cannot be impacted by environmental factors, then bhakti most certainly cannot either. So it's known as apratihata. It cannot be impacted, checked, influenced, stopped, damaged, whatever, by any factor of this world, any environmental factor, nothing of this world. But the only thing that can check bhakti, damage bhakti, is transgressions committed in the zone of bhakti, transgressions committed against Bhakti Devi by those who possess bhakti. It's not a transgression of this realm. It's not like going and committing a theft or an assault or a fraud or whatever it might be, transgression in this world. That can't actually affect your bhakti. But if you commit a transgression in that zone, towards someone who is living in that zone, in bhakti, if you kind of intrude into there and then commit your crime, make your transgression, then that is aparad. And there's different kinds of aparad, but Vaishnava aparad is considered the preeminently damaging aparad. So that's why it's listed first in the list of Das Nam aparad. Vaishnava aparad is also Nam aparad, secondarily. So that is how Vaishnava aparad can damage bhakti, because it's actually an offense against bhakti. It's nothing of this world blocking your bhakti or damaging the bhakti or causing bhakti to go, but it's transgressions in the realm of bhakti, in the spiritual realm. So Guru Maharaj, seeing this, has created a place where this can be dealt with. This whole idea of something that is quite dangerous in the life of a devotee, potentially, that danger can be dealt with. I was going to say removed, but it can be dealt with. People can be redeemed. What a brilliant, even say strategist, or how merciful, how intelligent and how merciful. No one else has done it. Guru Maharaj did it. Aparad Bhanjanarapad, where you can go, where you can be protected from the greatest danger. Such merciful prescience. Everyone was forgiven. There were various sectors that offended Mahaprabhu. The student community, Gopal, Chapal, Devananda Pandit, Who else? A couple of others. Those are the main ones. But anyway, grand amnesty. So let's read a few verses. Text 7 now. Henakali Ramachandra Puri Goshani Aila Paramananda Puri Re Ara Prabhu Re Milila. Then a sannyasi named Ramachandra Puri Goshani came to see Paramananda Puri and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Paramananda Puri Kaila Charana Bandana Puri Goshani Kaila Tanre Dridha Alingana. Paramananda Puri offered respects at the feet of Ramachandra Puri, and Ramachandra Puri strongly embraced him. Mahaprabhu Kaila Tanre Dandavat Nati Alingana Kari Tenho Kaila Krishna Smriti. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also offered obeisances unto Ramachandra Puri, who then embraced him and thus remembered Krishna. Tina Jane Istagosti Kaila Katakshana Jagarananda Pandita Tanre Kaila Nimantrana. The three of them talked about Krishna for some time. And then Jagadananda came and extended an invitation to Ramachandra Puri. Jagannathera prasada anila bhikshara lagia yateshta bhiksha karila tenho nindara lagia. A large quantity of the remnants of food from Lord Jagannath was brought in for distribution. Ramachandra Puri ate sumptuously, and then he wanted to find faults in Jagadananda Pandit. That's what he did. He was a fault finder. Bhiksha kari kahe puri shuna Jagadananda avashesha prasada tumi karaha bhakshana. After finishing the meal, Ramachandra Puri requested, "My dear Jagadananda, please listen. You eat the food that is left." Agraha kariya tanre vasi kayoyayala apane agraha kari praveshana kaila. With great eagerness, Ramachandra Puri seated Jagadananda Pandit and personally served him prasad. Agraha kariya punaha kayoyayala achamana kaile ninda karite lagila. Encouraging him again and again, Ramachandra Puri fed him sumptuously. But when Jagadananda had washed his hands and mouth, Ramachandra Puri began criticizing him. So he's like, eat more, here, have some dessert, seconds of dessert. And then when he had finished, he was like, wow, you're a glutton, aren't you? A gannet. You gannet. Shuni Chaitanya Gana Kari Bahuta Bhakshana Satya Se Vakya Shakshat Tekilun Ekana. I have heard, he said, that the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat more than necessary. Now, I've directly observed that this is actually true. So he came down to Puri with specific activity in mind. It's a ripe field for criticism in Aparad. Sanya sere eta kauyana kare dharma nasha vairagi hana eta kaya vairagyera nahi basa. Feeding a sannyasi too much breaks his regulative principles. For when a sannyasi eats too much, his renunciation is destroyed. Eta svabhava tanra agraha kariya Piche ninda kare age bahuta kauyana. The characteristic of Ramachandra Puri was that he would induce someone to eat more than necessary, and then he would criticize them. Purve yabe madhavendra karina antardana Ramachandra Puri tabe aila tanrastana. Formerly, when Madhavendra Puri was at the last stage of his life, Ramachandra Puri came to where he was staying. Puri Goshani Kare Krishna Nama Sankirtan Mathura na Painu Bali Karena Krandan. Madhavendra Puri was chanting the holy name of Krishna, and sometimes he would cry, "Oh my Lord, I did not get shelter at Mathura." Ramachandra Puri tabe upadeshe tanre shishyahana guru ket kahe baya nahe kare. Then Ramachandra Puri was so foolish that he fearlessly dared to instruct his spiritual master. Tumi purna brahmananda karaha smarana brahmavid thana kene karaha rodana. If you are in transcendental bliss, he said, you should remember only Brahman. Why are you crying? Shuni Madhavendra mane krota upajila dura dura papishta bali bhartsana karila. Hearing this instruction, Madhavendra Puri, greatly angry, rebuked him by saying, "Get out, you sinful rascal." Krishna na painu mathura apana dukkhe maran iditi aila jwala. O my Lord Krishna, I could not reach you, nor could I reach your abode, Mathura. I am dying in my unhappiness, and now this rascal has come to give me more pain. More mukha na dekhabe tui yao yati tati, tore deki maile mora habe ashadgati. Don't show your face to me, go anywhere else you like. If I die seeing your face, I shall not achieve the destination of my life. Krishna na painu muni maron apanara dukkhe, more brahma upadeshe e charamurke. I am dying without achieving the shelter of Krishna, and therefore I am greatly unhappy. Now this condemned foolish rascal has come to instruct me about Brahman. Eye Shri Madhavendra Shri Pada Upeksha Karila Se Aparadhe Inhara Vasana Janmila. Ramachandra Puri was thus denounced by Madhavendra Puri, and due to his offence, gradually material desire appeared within him. So that's the effect of aparad. Material desires creep back in. A person loses their taste for bhakti, and that taste for bhakti is gradually replaced. It's superseded by material desires that creep back in, because the bhakti lata is dried up, undernourished, and other weeds can grow in the garden and the bhakti lata is destroyed or damaged. Sorry?
I'm sorry if I don't understand properly, but before we said that bhakti can't be stopped.
Yeah. And we explained all of this.
We're just saying now that it can be completely damaged and even completely destroyed.
Well, we just explained all of that. We just covered all of that a few minutes ago.
It was probably when I left the room, then I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'll recap briefly. Is that bhakti cannot be damaged by anything in this world. Made the comparison that the Atma cannot be damaged. Bhakti is even above the Atma. So if the Atma cannot be damaged, what to speak of bhakti? Cannot be influenced. The only thing that can damage bhakti is a transgression inside the realm of bhakti by those possessing bhakti. Okay? So that's bhakti is apratihata in the sense that nothing of this world can damage it. But transgressions or crimes, misbehaviors in the realm of bhakti can damage bhakti. So offenses against bhakti can cause bhakti to withdraw. Otherwise, it's apratihata in this world. Nothing else can check it. Nuclear war, even crimes, misbehaviors in this world. You say even, people go, oh, you follow it. There's certain things that promote bhakti and certain things that may not promote bhakti. Right? But nothing can actually check bhakti. Nothing of this world has the power to check bhakti because it's made of lesser stuff.
When you say bhakti withdraw, when it's the biggest offense that has been made, it withdraw and doesn't come back anymore. This is what you mean. To make it just
we covered that as well. It destroys the bhakti. Gurudev has said that's the general conception. But we see at Aparad Bhanjanera Pat is that the Aparad means is broken and people are redeemed. So Gurudev has also said that it's like a cloud in front of the sun.
Yeah, but okay. Anyway.
What is your point? What can't you understand?
Well, it's a bit confusing. I'm sorry.
What is confusing?
So Bhakti, what was the word?
Bhakti can withdraw.
Withdraw unless we have the benefits of a place like this one where.
Yeah. Okay. So the traditional way is to seek, if there's Vaishnava Aparad, then forgiveness from that specific Vaishnava that was offended is sought.
Okay, good.
Aparad Bhanjanera Pat, in general, Aparad can be forgiven. All kinds of Aparads. Specifically for Vaishnava Aparad, it's said that the remedy is to seek out the Vaishnava that was offended, as a result of which Bhakti withdrew from your life, and to seek forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
All clear?
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll continue with that tomorrow. Yes.
If somebody is in a position of bhakti and performing day to day, is that attitude? Is that what that is? Where it has really no influence on its.
If someone is what? Sorry.
In possession of bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
And pure devotee, that may be associated with material life.
And if an aparad is committed in some way.
Not aparad, is that attitude? Is that what that is? What is attitude? Is that what?
Oh, okay. So what is the definition of avadut?
Yeah, is that what? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So an avadut is a person who is transcendental to any link with the mundane environment. So there is no subjective emotional attachment to any object or person in the world. And as a result of that, they are able to mix and interact with the people and objects of the world in ways that would seemingly be vishaya, like sense enjoyment. But because they are internally beyond that, they are beyond any desire to try and seek pleasure in the environment. There's not that. So they are able to indulge in what is seemingly sensual behavior. But internally, there is no actual subjective link. They're not affected by it. They're transcendental to it. It's a very high position. It's not common. It's an outlier type position. But we could say it is common. It's as uncommon as his Shuddha Bhakti. And that's said to be very uncommon. Pure Bhakti. It's very difficult to achieve. It's one of the 6 qualities of Bhakti is that it's very rarely attained. Shuddha Bhakti. But when it is attained, its power is such that any indulgence in this world, again, any kind of has no effect on that person who is achieved that pure state of Shuddha Bhakti. But not all Shuddha Bhaktis will be cast as avaduts. Gurudev has given a definition of avadut, and I think it's in maybe affectionate guidance. We can look it up later. I think it's in affectionate guidance. I'm not sure. But he's given a definition of avadut as someone who there's a mix. Someone who looks like a Shivite, who seems to practice like a Shakta, but who shows great enthusiasm for the association of Vaishnavas and is internally a Vaishnav. Something like that. I hope I haven't mangled it too much. We'll look it up and we'll give the proper definition as Gurudev presents it tomorrow. But externally, the Avadut is often an interesting character, because not all Shuddha Vaishnavas, pure devotees, will express themselves as an Avadut. So an Avadut has also not just a particular position or quality, as we are saying, of being transcendental to the environment, but they interact with the environment in very unorthodox and almost controversial ways. So they display behaviors that are unusual, unorthodox, difficult to understand. And those behaviors are also open to being misconstrued or being copied by those who are not at the same level. When Prabhupada was first taking his disciples to India, young American disciples, and they were out there preaching to the Indians, and this is just this one history, and they were speaking to one guy, and he's saying, "Yes, I know." He's talking to them about philosophy. He pulls out a cigarette, he's smoking a cigarette, and they're like, "Hey, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. You said you're a devotee." He said, No, I'm Avadut. So he blows some smoke at them. Avadut, you see. And they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And he said, "Yeah, you see, you don't know, Avadut." And they went back to Prabhupada. "Prabhupada, what's an Avadut?" And they said, "We met an Avadut." And Prabhupada said, No, he's not an Avadut, don't worry. So he's just using Avadut as a pretext, as an excuse to indulge in his bad habits. So that's definitely been done. The real Avadut, such as Nityananda Prabhu, is described as an Avadut. And if you read the behaviors of Nityananda Prabhu, given in, for instance, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, really they're quite dramatic and quite outrageous, actually, by our standards. Pretty outrageous stuff. So that is, Nityananda is a topmost, full-blown Avadut. The way he dresses, like jewelry and cowherd boy garments and carrying a staff and wandering around with his friends and laughing and rolling around, like absolute, like hilarious, outrageous kind of behavior from our mundane perspective. But there we go, that's Avadut. He is in a completely different world. So internally, so any interactions with the outside world are not as of the nature, not of the same nature as they would be if we or some common person was to indulge in those same actions. They're of a completely different nature, because he himself is in a different place. We could say, as you change, so does the environment and your relationship with the environment. So if you change fundamentally from someone who is materially conditioned to someone who is transcendental to any conditioning, then your relationship with the environment is fundamentally changed as well. You may do the same thing, but it has a completely different intrinsic nature. So that's the basis of avaduthood, is that their purity is causing them or allowing them to interact with the environment in a way which does not possess the same motive and does not have the same intrinsic character. There's no material taint or contamination to their behavior with their interaction with the environment. Even though it may seem that way to people that are tainted and conditioned materially, who have material desires. It is in fact not. So, it carries its risks. What I'm saying is that any risk is associated with trying to copy it. or misinterpret someone who is a genuine avadut. And that's why Vrindavan Das Thakur and Chaitanya Bhagavat constantly reminds the readers not to judge Nityananda Prabhu's behavior. He's saying, don't cast judgments. Don't try and penalize Nityananda Prabhu in your mind for what you perceive as misbehavior. So you may even see Nityananda Prabhu with a bottle of wine and a Muslim girl. Muslim girl is like a euphemism for a girl who's giving it out easy, like maybe a prostitute or something. And a bottle of wine. See, you may even see that. So the avadut is able to indulge in any way with the Mayic environment, with the external environment, even in so-called immoral ways. And it has no impact on their consciousness, and it does not suggest any contamination of consciousness or motive or on their part. It's quite a peculiar position. And it's an exception to the norm. Because usually someone who's at a stage of purity, they don't display avadut behavior. But it is a phenomenon that is recognized by the sadhus and the scriptures, but not one to be easily imitated. Not recommended to try and imitate it. Avadut. Yeah, very rare actually. The avadut. We'll find that definition later. Read it tomorrow. Does that answer the query?
Yes, thanks.
We'll read a little bit from Revealed Truth by Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. The most merciful avatar. So, Gurudev has been talking about, remember yesterday, Ramananda Samvad. The discussion between Ramananda Roy and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which goes to the very highest levels of bhakti, Madhura Ras Bhakti. The most merciful avatar. The hidden treasure of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's divine identity first came out in this way through the heart of Ramananda Roy. Later, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fully spread this consciousness to Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted the flow of his mercy to continue in this world after his presence here. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Srila Rupa Goswami in Prayag, he personally taught Rupa Goswami everything he had revealed to Ramananda Roy. He personally taught Srila Rupa Goswami everything he had revealed to Ramananda Roy. Later Mahaprabhu told all his devotees, I have given everything to Rupa Goswami. In this way, he identified Srila Rupa Goswami as his successor. So there is no question whether there is a continuation of the flow of Mahaprabhu's mercy. Later, by Mahaprabhu's mercy, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhu composed some verses which gloriously and perfectly explain Mahaprabhu's appearance and gift to the world. Namo Mahabadannaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauda Tvase Namaha. That was composed by Rupa Goswami when he first saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, near the famous Bindu Madhava temple, I believe. Maha is used as a superlative in this verse. No one is more merciful or has ever given more than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared to distribute Krishna Prem to everyone. Only Mahaprabhu can be known as Mahabadanya Avatar, because only he has fully distributed Krishna Prem to the world. So many forms of the Lord have appeared in the world to bless the Jiva souls. Among them, Krishna and his Vrindavan Lila are supreme, but Gauranga Mahaprabhu is more merciful than Krishna. Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, appearing in the form of his devotee. A devotee's nature is to distribute Krishna, and when Krishna himself is a devotee, then he distributes mercy to the conditioned souls in the most merciful mood. And there is no question whether he can bestow his own mercy. Sometimes we see that when the government of a country changes, or some very respectable persons come to a country, prisoners are released. Sometimes thousands of prisoners are released. Similarly, when Krishna appears as a devotee, everything changes and he freely gives the souls his full mercy. He can give himself, and there can be no opposition to that by any law. So Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Dev is the supreme giver of his own self, and by his merciful appearance, all souls can receive the supreme spiritual fortune, Krishna Prem. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. You want to sing Hari Haraya, Prabhu? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana
Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohana
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita
Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita
Gadadhara Shivasati Gauravandavinda
Gadadhara Shivasati Gauravandavinda Jai Mishra Raj Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Vishnu Pad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sri Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Guru Varga ki jai.
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai.
Jai.
Vishvakaranya Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Vaishnava Mandala ki jai.
Jai.
Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat East London ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat West London ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Gopranandi.
Hari Bol.